The following episode of the Carnival of Randomness is sponsored by an important message to you, the people, from Upsitnik and Associates. Every day there are forces that are taking from you, stealing from you. Your money, your time, your freedom. Immense faceless corporations, banks, credit card companies, insurance providers, government agencies, this list goes on and on. When you are under attack and facing crisis, turn to us, Upsitnik and Associates, attorneys for you, the people. When every day becomes a battle, we can advise and assist. We have been advocates for 40 years. Email us through upsitnikslaw.com or call us at 1-866-391-3299 or reach out to us through Upsitnik and Associates on Facebook for a prompt, no obligation communication and consultation. Don't be pushed around.
Hi everybody, Carnival of Randomness again. This is Rob, and I want to come out about my artistic talents and classical training. And I did do a couple paint by numbers and color by number books. That's the extent of it. And Zach, how about you?
I was terrible at paint by numbers.
This is why we try to find people who actually have talent to be on here. And we were very lucky to find, out in the parking lot today calling me, Sarah Eide. Thank you for the pronunciation, Sarah.
Yes, you got it. You got it.
So that's very good. So just a little bit for the audience about yourself.
Yeah. Sure. Well, my name is Sarah Eide. I'm a pianist, singer-songwriter, composer, singer.
Raconteur.
Yeah.
And do you have a special hidden talent we should know about?
Special hidden talents. Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
Like, can you, lick your elbow or...
No, I don't know. I'm pretty good at whistling, and I have a very weird way of whistling. I don't know if it's like a special talent. It's more of like a weird talent, but I whistle from the side of my mouth. It's like really strange.
Certainly, you could use that for a song. A little bit about yourself and everything. How did you come to be... I always say, for anybody who's in some... Did you have a moment when you were a child that you saw an instrument or heard music? Wow, this is for me. This is really what I love.
Well, so I grew up, actually, like, this is going to sound strange, but my dad was a pastor growing up. So I literally lived in a church. Like, my church was my home because my dad was the pastor. But there was a piano there, so... it's not really that I was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. It wasn't really like that. It was just there, and I was always playing on it. It was kind of like a very organic thing for me to just go and try to play stuff. And then my dad kind of noticed I had a good ear at an early age, so he would, and he's not a professional musician. Actually, he's not really a musician at all, but he also has a really good ear. So we would together, as early as 2 or 3, just try to play stuff on the piano. So that was kind of my start, but I wouldn't say I was like, oh my God, it was just a very natural thing.
Organic.
Yeah, very organic.
That's a place to go to hear music too at church now. I found a lot of my friends play around here. You go down to church and they sing, they play.
Yeah.
It's amazing how. But then you actually went to get classically trained. You didn't just pick up the little like me.
Yeah, I started my classical training at 5, and I'm really grateful to my parents for putting me in that direction, because it definitely, I can read music, I can sight read music, and I can play, things that are, I guess, more complex and take more technique. So it was definitely I think it was a good move on my parents.
Did you start off, when you started writing, did you start off doing instrumental, or did you start doing vocals right off the bat?
I definitely started writing instrumentally. Actually, the very first thing I started doing was taking classical pieces and changing the arrangement. So, it was really baby steps. The first thing I can distinctly remember was taking a Beethoven piece and turning it into a ragtime and showing my piano teacher. And thankfully, she was the kind of, because I've heard horror stories, she was the kind of teacher who really, encouraged my creativity, which is a little unusual in the classical world, to be honest. But she was like, oh, okay, well, let's make sure we can play this piece. It was Sonata Pathétique,
It was not the guy in Whiplash. It was not that guy.
No,
you didn't play it right.
No, exactly. No, she would be like, all right, well, you got to play Sonata Pathétique, correctly, but what you're doing is very interesting and cool, and she encouraged that. So that was kind of my first step.
I've seen that as friends like theater, they've taken Shakespeare, for example, Measure for Measure, they did it as a speakeasy. And they sung Bye Bye Blackbird and stuff before. They said they did that setting, which I thought was very, very cool.
Yeah.
And I suppose you can translate it like that. You can keep the meaning, but then add a little, it's almost like adding a little jazz feel to it in a weird way because you're improvising a little, but you're keeping the same piece.
Right.
I mean, this is hundreds. I was going to say thousands. No, it was not the Flintstones. It's like hundreds of years old. Things. One person takes it, another person takes it, and I think you always bring something of yourself. Maybe at the beginning, okay, I'm learning this, but then once you start, you put a little of your own feeling into it too.
Yeah, and I've kind of always looked at genres more like clothing than like separate entities, and songs being more of like the actual core of what it is, So for me, it was at a very early age, I was kind of like, oh, you can change this and kind of dress it up in a different way, but it's still at its core like the same thing, but you're just kind of dressing it up.
Yeah, the only thing I ever learned was pictures in an exhibition by Masagorsky.
Oh,
it was like the one finger thing.
I know, but isn't it amazing? Such a like beautiful, moving song.
And then
it's actually so simple.
You hear it again and again, and like, wow, I actually tried to play that.
Yeah.
Not half bad, and a few people knew what it was.
Yeah.
And then how did you go? Did you make that leap a little to doing some pop as well? Popular music, whatever genre and everything.
Okay, so for me, it was really, again, it was all very organic. At a pretty early age, I started playing piano for church because the church pianist moved to a different state. So I think I was like around 8 years old. And my parents were like, well, we do have this pianist right here living in our house. So they asked my piano teacher to kind of show me how to play chords, because that was like primarily the music that we had was just sort of chords with lyrics underneath it. So she taught me how to do that. And that was like, I think, a very defining moment for me, because it just... right there, again, it wasn't like I was writing songs, but then already I'm just improvising. Like, I'm instantly having to improvise and play kind of what comes to mind when I see these chords and what's going to fit the song. You were
sort of comfortable playing because you were playing in church then.
Yeah, and it was my family, and like, it was a very small church, and I definitely had no concept of like, oh my gosh, I'm playing for people. I never felt that way. So, and then, I'd also play classical competitions, but then I'd also start playing for the chorus or the choir. No, I think it was called a chorus. I don't remember anymore. But for like middle school and high school, and I played for the orchestra, and I played for musical theater. That was pretty defining too, when I started to play for the musical theater in high school. And and the pop and stuff, I don't know, that was kind of like much later on that I started to do that. But I did have this, the church that we lived in, many people had lived there through the years. So there were these really old, from the 70s, like books of piano music. Well, it was actually like 70s pop music written for piano, I guess. And I had never heard these songs before. It was like Billy Joel and the Beatles and like all kinds of stuff. And I just kind of like was like, oh, this is interesting. And it's sort of like if you find a book and you just start to read it, it's like exactly what I did. I just was like, what's this? And I started to read it.
I could picture in my head, because I had the Beatles one. And I could picture that. And I remember you said, you can explain this, you said you were over the Beatles a little bit.
I'm not over their songs, but like, I mean, I'm probably going to get hate mail or something for saying this, but...
No, we get enough, don't worry about it. It'll get lost in the shuffle.
The spam folder.
I was like, but I would say between the ages of like 15 and 17, that was my favorite band. And I just listened to every Beatles album, and the White Album in particular was just on repeat. I would just like lay in my bed and listen to it over and over and over again. And I was just totally obsessed, and I learned a lot of the music, how to play and how to sing it. And I still think it's some of the greatest songs ever written, a lot of that stuff. But, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't know why, but I'm a little over it.
I had a pilgrimage, too, when my friends went to Toronto. I had to get the White Album because the exchange rate was cheaper.
Oh.
And that was beautiful. And the other thing is you did a very good version of In My Life, though.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, because, I do, like, those songs have not gotten old to me. But it's kind of like what I was saying, like, for me, genres are just clothing. So I might be tired of the clothing, but you just put some other clothes on it, and then you're like, oh my God, this is so fresh and new.
That's what I mean, because Zach, you can't really describe your genre.
No, I was listening to some of your stuff, and then it's like, okay, we got this, and then it's like, this almost sounds a little country. And then it's like, but she's a really talented pianist. It's like, what?
Well, country. Wait, hold on now. It's not like country and piano are.
No, but
two
it's
separate things.
No, but it's just like you switch so often between songs, and it's like, what are you? To put it bluntly, what would you call yourself?
I'm hoping other people can just tell me. I don't know. It's kind of funny because I feel like people who like are truly country nerds would be like, she's absolutely not country, and people who are like really jazz listeners would be like, she's absolutely not jazz. And
so maybe you're the anti-genre.
Well, maybe I'm the anti-genre. I think what I am is I'm a singer-songwriter that has a lot of influences,
and you can tell.
Yeah.
All the different
and you know what,
stuff
you could
I
play
listen
with
to.
somebody.
Like,
you could say, well, if you're going to go see Sarah, she sounds like Tori Amos. So they'll come out. She sounds like Tori Amos because you said it. And you can hear it, but you can hear that. And, she sounds like so-and-so.
But then people who love Tori Amos would be like, nah, she doesn't sound like Tori Amos. But it's funny because Tori Amos the thing is, like, growing up, Tori Amos and Ben Folds were, like, hugely influential to me. And I learned not all their music, but a lot of their music I learned how to play. But even those two people, they're so different musically from each other. And I think there are some songs that definitely have that Ben Folds vibe, and then some have the Tori Amos vibe.
We were all like, all as comic book people were all like the Ben Folds live album. We were all really big into that.
Oh yeah.
And all that thing with his piano. I think there was one tour just called Ben Folds and his piano.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like. I don't know. I guess I'm not saying I sound like this person either, to be honest. And I have heard everything you can imagine. But I kind of feel a little bit akin to Randy Newman, I guess, because
the ultimate musical chameleon.
Yeah, because he is a chameleon. And he, like, I studied film scoring, and I've written for various types of media, including film, and that's what he does. And he's also a songwriter, and he's definitely a little more towards, I don't know, like the New Orleans jazz kind of thing is a little more of his taste. But even I have stuff kind of like that too. And I don't know, I guess like I feel like maybe I'm a little like him, but he's way more quirky than I am.
If you're listening to this, you see Sarah play, tabulate it, tell her or me, and we'll tabulate who you sound like at the end of the year.
Yeah.
We'll announce the award.
Yeah, who does Sarah sound like? I don't know. Like lately, a few people have started to say I sound like Mary Chapin Carpenter.
I have not listened to her.
I've never listened to her either, actually.
Did you like it? Was she good? Good, that's all.
No, I know. And then some people are like, oh, you sound like Joni Mitchell. I feel like people... And the thing is, I can see what people are saying, like, oh, you think I sound like Joni Mitchell, because I do, my range in a lot of my songs goes from very low to very high, so, like, that's probably
and also,
why
I
you
think it's
that,
where people come from, their background, where if they're big fans, they're going to put that into everything. But one thing to get into, you've talked about playing with a lot of media, done it for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did, was it what is it? Video?
It's like something versus animation, or
animator versus.
That's
actually, I think it's animation versus animator, or the other way around.
Something
I should
like
know,
but because there was like Minecraft stuff in there, and it's like, this is
what's that like doing things for that?
Say that one more time.
Just what's that like doing things for like?
Yeah, it's very, very, very different. I mean, it's kind of like more like a job, I guess you could say. And it's not to say that I don't enjoy it, but it's a job in the sense that the director, in this case the animator, he had a very specific idea. I mean, really specific. And this is typical for film, where they even have music already in mind, but they can't license that music. So they're like, we want you to sound like this. Can you like do something like that?
Is that difficult for you as an artist when you go in and like you have all these things in place? Like, this is what we want. Because I know that musicians and artists of all kind really thrive under the do whatever you feel
Sarah,
like.
We want to get WKRP Cincinnati on DVD. We don't have the rights. Can you just do a couple 70s things Stevie Nicks for a couple minutes?
It's got to be a little difficult at first.
Actually, not so much, but that's because like I went to school for it, so I was already I already knew that that's kind of what I was getting into. And I think just knowing, first of all, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people would struggle with it and not be able to do it because it is very confined. But I think for me, I just have a very different frame of mind. I'm super excited when they give me freedom, because sometimes, I did work with this one game developer, and he gave me total freedom, and that was really, really awesome. But no, it's just kind of how the job is. And luckily I am someone who does appreciate different genres, and I like to write in different genres. And if I don't know a certain genre, it is kind of cool to now be challenged with, all right, I have to write something that's similar and evokes, what this person likes.
I always use the story. I saw Cliff Eberhardt at a house concert that he played with Richie Havens, the folk singer. And he tells the story. He's like, oh, by the way, you hear that Burger King commercial? That's my jingle. Oh, Chrysler, that's my jingle. And some of my friends would come up to me and say, hey, Cliff, you're a folk singer. He goes, yes, I'm a folk singer. I'm a folk singer who owns my own house.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's
artistic integrity can only take you so far until you get hungry.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. I guess in a way, I'm okay with it, because that music that I wrote, for example, for animation versus animator and animation versus YouTube, etc., it's gotten literally millions and millions and millions of views.
I know.
So,
they're big genres. I mean, that's not my biggest field in terms of, but I know it's huge.
It's just the whole thing. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is fascinating.
Yeah, and I actually have 2 Spotifys, and I have 2 2 artist accounts.
When I Googled you, it's oh my God, there's this list of all the different places.
Yeah.
That, oh my God,
So,
that's a lot of stuff.
But would you enjoy that if somebody came up and said, okay, here I'm making a film, here's basically, you have free reign, do whatever you want. Would you get a kick out of that?
Oh, I would love that. And I feel, though, that the only reason that would happen is because they know my music and they already like what I do.
You don't think it would be like a Jean-Claude Van Damme thing or something, action movie?
No, I don't think it would be like...
wouldn't that be funny, though?
It would be interesting.
You hear him whooping the shit out of people in the background.
I would definitely question the director, why do you want me to do this? But no, actually, I would love to do an action film sometime, but I know that is probably not going to happen just because it is so far off from what I do.
Well, Roy Orbison did the fastest guitar in the West, where he was a guitar player, his guitar was a gun. You could do something that comes up on the piano and like a laser gun or something.
Yeah, it comes up and there's a grenade launcher.
Anybody listening out there? We do have filmmaker friends.
It sounds like you're saying I'm in the film now, though. I'm not just
why not?
We'll have you as a cameo,
Okay, I love it. I would love to be in a film one day. If anyone's looking for an actor, actress, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sure
Anvil Chorus ain't got nothing on the grenade launcher piano.
But when you started writing your own songs and recording, a lot of ways I ask about where do they come from? I find a lot of them, they come to you. And I always use the example, my friend Greg Townsend for the High Risers, he goes driving by, he sees the thing ATM inside, and it became a song. And one time he saw somebody throw a cigarette on the road, it became Sparks on the Highway. One of my friends told me, I asked her what her song was about, this is about somebody I never want to see again. So I always say, don't take a songwriter off, or current events, those are usually depressing songs. But they just come to you, or just
they kind of just come to me. I mean, all right, not always. I mean, even as far as my songs go, aside from how they sound, they do come from different sources. I mean, sometimes it's a story that is on the news, or something that I heard that really intrigues me. Sometimes it's literally it's just me having a conversation with someone and they say a line and I'm like, whoa, that's a song lyric. That's a really good line. And I'm like, I don't know what song I'm going to write around that, but I'm going to write something, because that's a great chorus right there. And then sometimes, though, it really is I'm going through something and I'm writing because it's a way, it's free therapy.
I've always
it's
said
the cheapest
that it is therapy. It's like people who listen to the songs also, it's therapy. Because universally, people go through a lot of the same things. It's wow, you know what? Did you write you'll ever get wait a second, did you write that song about me?
Exactly. No matter what kind of song you write, there's going to be somebody out there that feels that exact same thing.
Yeah. And to be honest, even if there isn't a single person out there that feels that same thing, it's still worth it, because, and I literally had this experience just a few days ago, where once I finally write the song and it's on the page and I'm able to play it, it's just weird. It's like, especially if I'm going through a hard time, it's almost like I've been able to now take it out of myself and look at it and process it and be like, okay, I can move on now. And I think that's that's why people go to therapy. And, I think it's really healthy to do that. So honestly, even if there is not a single person out there who can relate to what I wrote, but it was still like psychologically healthy for me to distill all my feelings into a song and look at it and have that like objective point of view and be like, okay, this is all right. And then I can move on.
There could be the title of your next song, Musical Therapy.
Right, I love that, because it's literally friend of mine said
Yeah.
that to me. A friend of mine said that one time. He's actually sending me a message, and he, like, some sentence he writes, he goes, wow, that could be a song.
Yeah.
You find your influences everywhere. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cool. But then I know you do your own recording, really, don't you? You said?
Yeah, well, I go into different studios and I
That's what I
work
mean.
with different engineers, but I am like my own producer. I, find the musicians, I come up with the arrangements, and then I just work with the right engineers who can pretty much like take direction from me. Not easy to find. But yeah, so it's a little like, in a way, I wish I just had my own studio. I had an engineer and I just do everything in one place. But I just find that, like, certain studios are better for certain things. Like, if I'm going to record piano, I'm going to go to a studio that has a great piano and an engineer who really knows how to record a piano. And, it's not necessarily, like, the most streamlined process that I have right now, but it's working, and I'm happy with the results. So for now, it's fine.
I'm always ask about equipment. I mean, do you have a preference for what you use, or like any old thing laying around you can make magic out of it or anything?
Well, as far as my equipment goes, it's really just for performing and for songwriting, not for recording. Because recording equipment is so expensive, and I do not have like the money right now to do that. So again, that's why I work with like, there's one person that I do my vocals with because he has like the exact right mic and he really knows how to record vocals. You know what I mean? So all of my equipment is really like, it's really for performing, which doesn't have to be quite as like high quality, but it's still good. It's good stuff.
It's amazing. Like going through the years, I remember many bands like from decades ago. Just the process you could hear, we used to say it would sound local a lot of times. Because now also too, you can get your music out there. Where before check out this band, it's here. You have to be going around passing out albums in the back of your car.
Now all you have to do is just a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I mean that's how probably a lot of people get their feet wet in it and get their the break in there. It's like, hey, I saw you on YouTube.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, even if you can put it on the internet, it's not like people just magically find you.
No, I mean...
So there's still that challenge, I guess. But you don't have to do it from a car anymore. So.
Right, exactly. You could do it, you could, link it to Facebook. Like, hey, guys, check me out here.
I know, yeah. But you'd be, I mean, not to like rant right now, but I guess a mini rant. It's still so hard to get people's attention, understandably, because you're just like flooded with look at this, listen to this, watch this, read this article. It's like constant nonstop, So I still find it hard to just like grab people's attention, and I'm not like upset about it. I mean, I understand because it's the same with me.
Well, that's what it is, because you have to compete with so much. Like, like the stuff I follow on YouTube is, oh my god! Like, there's a dude. His shtick is he heats up a ball of nickel, till it's like white hot, and then he puts it on different things.
Oh.
Like, he put it in the jar of natural peanut butter with all the oil, and it just burst into flame.
Wow.
I mean, it's just...
That's his whole YouTube channel.
That's his channel. There's another guy, he just takes objects and puts them in a big hydraulic press. Just to see what happens. He put a bowling ball in there and just watch it explode. It's like... I mean...
You know what? I kind of want to see that,
Yeah, I know.
actually.
It's like... It's not very artistic, but good God, was that entertaining.
I always used to think... I actually had a conversation with a friend one time. We were actually talking about Archimedes, of all things. We said, look, back... in those days, you might be staring at the sky for 30 years. Now, you're distracted with everything.
Yeah.
It's like you have this,
And
that.
there's so many rabbit holes you go down.
And then there's a lot of things you don't want to hear about.
I know, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's a good thing because we have so much information just there for us, like,
you have to
for
disseminate
free.
it, though, too.
Yeah,
also.
disseminating it. And then also, I don't know, is it really good that we're constantly being flooded with information? Like, I actually think being bored and not having anything to look at or to do
Well, that's
is
where
very
creativity
healthy.
comes
Did you ever hear
Yeah.
the stories of when they bet a town? You go a month without TV or these things, and what happened? Like, some people just lost, but they found out what happened. Families would start playing board games. Actually, you would talk to people.
I know.
I mean, I used to remember,
God forbid,
like years. Like now, you get the text.
Yeah.
Like send a text. What are we doing? Where are we going? I'll meet you.
Yeah.
And there would be. I remember how many years ago, like for the holidays, I would call people I haven't seen. We would talk for hours. Who does that anymore?
Oh, yeah. Well, now even when I'm hanging out, this isn't with like all of my friends, but there are definitely certain friends where even I'm hanging out with them and like they're like looking, like we're talking and they're looking at their phone while we're talking. And I'm just like, how can we have
It's
like a connection
dude,
here?
The
if you're
cats
looking
on the
at your
internet
phone?
will be there in an hour,
I've had
guys.
things where I've been at a restaurant, you will see people there texting each other
Yeah.
at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
sometimes we get information is way ahead of us. Technology jumps way over us. I mean, yes, I'm still waiting for the flying car of the jet since we've been robbed. But technology it overwhelms us and everything, and it's so much, and everything's out there. And like anybody, you do something now, you walk out of here and spill your coffee, you might be a YouTube sensation.
Yeah.
You know, somebody spills
Wow.
coffee, runs around.
Yeah.
I
hope that happens.
Yeah,
You wanna be
spills
known
coffee
as a
and
coffee
slips in
person.
it. 27 million views.
I have to slip in order to get all those views.
Well, you
it
don't
has
have to
to be
fall. Just
horrible,
like
you
the,
know,
you know, the,
yeah.
like
Oh.
you don't have to do the pratfall. Just
Okay.
like whoa.
Let's make it happen. I
Like
could
the guy
use
sliding-
27 million views.
But that's what I try to do. I mean, I try to
Tell me about it.
because I mean, I've always been into all the local music and art scene for years. And when I see somebody know anything, I try to check them out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
then I try to tell my friends, hey, come on, check this out. Get going down here.
Yeah.
Don't go watching. Go to your. I always say too. You could see so many. In this town, I've had friends tell me I used to live in Alexandria, and I'd hit the bookstores a lot. They had like that, but they didn't really have for shows. I had a friend of mine in Georgia. He loves it, but he says, when you were up here, I could tell you almost every night of the week if there's some genre you want to go see, you could see it around here. And down there, he didn't have it. I was like, what did you go see recently? I never heard of Arnold.
Yeah.
And that's why this show has been a benefit for me, because I quit searching out new music in about 2003. It's like, I don't care. But now everything I listen to comes from people, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So
I
now
mean,
it's...
at the point where I get to be like the elder statesman, like I told like Joss Nesky of Maber, and I'm like, when I met all you guys in 2013, you kids are doing well. Back in my day, we passed the torch on to some really talented people. Because it is a bastion for all this kind of music and all this kind of talent. I think you can find it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think Rochester has an incredible amount of talent.
And now you do your solo stuff, but you also do collaborations, and you have your band. And I know like Sarah and Brian, and I don't know the other band members.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, when I saw you, I was like, hey, I know a couple of your band members. I had to help Brian open the door.
Yeah. Well, I don't really have like a set band. I just call it like my rotating cast
Best way
of
to do it.
musicians. Yeah, because I really want to work with the best, but especially being new to the area, it's hard to lock down, just like one drummer or one bass player. And to be honest, it's fun at playing with different musicians anyways, so it's a little bit there are downsides to this, but so far what I've been doing is just having
it's like you'll never know where Sarah will pop up, because I was at a concert for Adrian at noon, and I hear somebody there with them. Make sure you stay for the second set, Sarah.
Oh,
I think he said Edie. But
yeah, he probably said Edie.
they're like, wow, it's Sarah again. And she was really good. You two did a really good job there.
Yeah, Adriana and I, we've been doing a couple of shows here and there, just like, the thing is, I just really like playing with other people and kind of jumping, I really like jumping in and just kind of like jumping in and playing piano or something.
That's cool. That's what it's exactly the vibe it seemed like. You came in, you raced past you.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fun for the audience too, So even in my own shows, if I can have someone come in and sit on a couple of tunes, I'm happy to have that happen, because I just think it makes for like a more interesting
One
show.
thing I always ask too is, I don't know if you have something out of the comfort zone because you have so many genres, but like one of my friends has just started this thing every month where bands and musicians, they do something different. Like, for example, her band's almost like you would call like heavy metal, sludge metal. They were doing acoustic and playing and everything.
Oh.
Is there some genre you'd like to try it that you've never done?
There's a lot of genres I've never done. Oh,
it all has to come back to the polka.
I wasn't gonna say polka. But I was gonna say like I would. Okay, I think just in general, doing a genre where there's like no piano does not belong in that genre kind of thing. Like, I don't know, maybe Cajun Zydeco or something.
Oh, that
would be really
cool.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
And having to play like an accordion or something
You're
like that.
saying more and more that, because even there's a thing from David Lee Roth, Strumming with the Devil, where he does Van Halen bluegrass.
Yeah.
And actually, it was my friend played last night. They did Easy by the Commodores, and I told them one of my favorite versions of one of their songs is Sail On by the Super Suckers, where they take it and they make it country. And it just sounds so, because I always think, like with you, from what I've heard, is I always say with covers, you sort of, you adapt them. You make them your own in a way.
Oh, yeah. I do not like doing covers. Like, I'm not even, just to be honest, like, no offense to all the people doing this, because there's a lot of people doing this, but I'm not interested in tribute shows where all you're doing is, like, you're trying to, like, replicate the album. It's not for me.
No,
it's
I
just
think
not
there's
for
that.
me.
I've always found there's a passion with doing your own music, and I've seen some great. And yes, they're very good. A lot of them, they do a very good job. I know some of my friends, they do both.
Yeah,
they do a very good job. But I've seen bands also where I knew people who were very accomplished musicians, and they would do just that. And there wasn't really a passion to it. There was, we're playing, we're good, we can do the notes.
Yeah.
But when you do something that's your own, you bring that in, and you could tell that something's with it. That this is coming from the heart and from you.
Well, and also, like, I think because ultimately, above everything else, I do consider myself to be a songwriter, like, above everything else. So for me, it's not even like, oh, I would never do a tribute show. It's more of like, if I were to do a tribute show, I'd be tributing the songs, and I wouldn't be tributing like the way that it was recorded. I would be like, I don't know, like I've thought about, okay, I would do maybe like a Paul Simon tribute show. I would do all of the songs that I feel like represent as much of him as a songwriter, which means not just the popular ones, also the newer ones, the stuff that only his like real fans listen to. And I wouldn't just do it exactly like the recording, because honestly, I don't know. I just feel like then it's not like you're really tributing the song itself. So I'd probably just make different. Yeah, I would make different versions.
There's a recent bio on him that was very good. It was very insightful into all his music and everything. Because I think he got put up there like one of the best songwriters of the century.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think so.
And
He's my hero.
The whole thing with him and Artie, too, is, I mean, there was like a little bit of the problems with them is because he didn't write. And he had a sort of, there's always a thing, giving to depend on somebody to write the songs. No doubt he's got a great voice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But Paul's songs with the irony and everything, every time you hear him, there's something different.
Yeah, well, and his songs he's a chameleon himself. Like, his songs they're all so different. Listening to all of his songs throughout the years, it's not like there's one sound. There is kind of like, it's Paul. It's still Paul, but...
See, that's the thing.
But it feels different, genre-wise.
It's still, I can always picture him coming out on a Saturday Night Live in the turkey suit, singing Still Crazy all these years, and trying to do it. And the way he did it was perfect because he just didn't laugh. Everybody's laughing their heads off.
Wait, when was this? I never saw this.
You can Google this. I'll send you a clip. Is
this on TV?
You can. He came on Saturday Night Live one time.
Like a long time ago?
Yes, I can. I'll send you the clip.
Please do.
And he comes out. He's just dressed in a turkey suit. And he starts singing "Still Crazy" all these years. And he sings it straight. Yeah. And people are just busting up.
Well, that's a mark of a talent. When you can do something that ridiculous and not break at all.
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's amazing.
Okay,
it is amazing.
That's actually my favorite song of his, so I'm gonna have to see this myself.
I mean, just for him to come out and do that song is fine, but the turkey suit is like...
Because those were the original things I heard of him was that period, like Slip Out the Back, Jack, No. And all those, because those. Then I went back to Simon and Garfunkel, and then forward, and then one of my roommates in college was obsessed with Graceland, so I heard it, and then the Rhythm of the Saints. So I heard those albums 1,000. I always like Diamonds on the Soles of My Shoes for some reason. I like that song.
Yeah.
And just the way he incorporated the music with everything was just fantastic. Because everybody just knows that You Can Call Me Elephant because of the video.
Yeah.
A lot more. And he does some Zydeco.
I know. Yeah. He's amazing. He's got stuff that's very gospel inspired. He's got he's really got so much.
And he could be funny because he did one song called Allergies, which is just maladies stuck on my skin. And that was like, I think it was on Hearts and Bones, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But then I like his more recent one. I do like the Christmas song on his last album was really good, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of the title of it.
Yeah. I think that's what's amazing about him. He just keeps like writing just amazing stuff. It's not like getting as much attention, I guess, as like the classics.
Care,
but
that's the thing.
No, I think he does care.
He does, you think?
I watched an interview that he did like a year ago, and I think he cares. I think he said it pretty bluntly. I don't want to quote him because I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was definitely along the lines of like how he's kind of frustrated that he's writing the best. He feels he's writing the best stuff now, but people still just want to hear, Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Right, that's because I know some people, because I've heard bands say that where they're glad to play the old stuff, but they don't want to be in, they call an oldies act. They want to keep, they don't want to just go around like Mike Love does or something where he's playing these great songs, but it's nothing. They want to keep, okay, yes, we're fine playing the old stuff. And of all things, like some of my friends love Duran Duran. So we saw them at the casino, and the first thing Simon Le Bon says, he comes down and he goes, oh, don't worry, we're going to play the old stuff. But then they wanted to play the new stuff too. They just didn't want to go around playing those old songs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Which is cool, And if you want to just play the old stuff, want to just play.
Yeah, that's true.
But have you recorded more? I have your CD, which I thought was very good.
Thank you.
And have you recorded anything else, or is this?
Well, yeah, so I have like a single that I just put out. And then I actually have 2 albums before Dreams on Hold. One of them is it's like a piano vocal album. It's literally it's just very stripped down. It's supposed to be more of like a showcase of my songwriting. And I have a very limited, I actually just sold my very last physical copy of it because I made an extremely limited, run of like physical copies of that. So, but you can listen to it on Spotify and stuff like that. I released that, I want to say 2017. And then a couple years before that, I released my first EP like under my name called Borderland. And that was my first effort. It's still on Spotify. People still like want it to be on there because they're like, oh, there's this few songs that I really love from it, but probably in a few years I'll probably take it down.
I know, like one of my friends,
buy it now, folks.
I don't know, one of my dear friends, like I love her first album, but she pretty much doesn't even acknowledge it anymore. I think because she thinks she's grown as an artist, but I mean, I think it's very good. And I think some people will find that, but then you just move on sometimes and go, well, this is especially your first time doing something. You always look back at it as it's your first time.
Right. Well, and for me, that album was my first time like really producing my own album, and I even mixed it myself. I had someone master it, but so it was more of like the production value was not, it's just not up to par.
You know what it sounds like to me is Pat Denizio from the Smithereens made one in his basement on his piano.
Oh yeah. So did you hear this album that I'm talking about?
No, that one
Oh, okay.
I'll listen to it.
Oh yeah, well you don't need to listen to it.
Oh, I have to listen to it. I'm a completist.
Pretend we've never had this conversation.
But if people ever get down on you for that, it's like, oh, what was your first album like? Oh, it hasn't come out yet? Okay.
Oh, for sure. No, like, no one's ever said anything negative.
This is a very cute album cover, too.
Oh, thanks.
What's with the little kids and the butterflies and the birds and everything?
So, those are actually my kids.
Aww.
Yeah.
Are they that small? They could fit on the album cover?
Yes.
Yes, they're that small. So the album is called Dreams on Hold, for anyone who doesn't know, and it's...
Pick it up when you see her. It's good.
It's really, like, about... pretty much most of the songs are about my struggles with being a mother, but also having these, like, big dreams for myself, and... yeah, that sort of juxtaposition of dreams and responsibility. So it's called Dreams on Hold, and the title track... Dreams on Hold is really kind of sums it all up, where I say, like, I'll put my dreams on hold for you. And I've the first time when I started playing that song, it's funny because everyone was like, oh, you put your dreams on hold for your husband or for your boyfriend? Or I'm like, hell no, I wouldn't put my dreams on hold. But
my God, why would any person do that? It's for the kids.
I know. I'm like, that's not romantic. There's nothing romantic about that.
Plus, I think sometimes albums, they turn into semi-concept albums, even though you don't expect it, because you're in that frame of mind when you're writing the songs.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I just happened to be writing a lot of songs that, again, it was my like free therapy sessions with myself, where I'm just kind of trying to process that it's not like, okay, Dreams on Hold, it's more dramatic than what it really is. It's not like I'm not pursuing my goals, but the thing is, when you have like a big responsibility in your life, like little kids, you just can't, you can't just, I don't know, live out of a van and travel the country.
The one I think about is He's Carl's album before his new one, where it was very good, but I'm just listening to it and saying, wow, I don't know what he's going through, because this is dark.
Yeah,
this is really... And then he must have got happier because his next one's back to normal. But this was so dark.
Everybody can have an off period.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love some of the dark stuff. I mean, my favorite Beck album is Sea Change. I don't know if you guys listen to Beck.
I listen to Beck a lot.
Sea Change, I just absolutely... And that's a sad album, but it's so good. It's so good.
That's the thing.
But by the way, anyone listening who doesn't know, my album is not sad, though. Like, that's
No,
the thing.
it's not.
Yeah.
Your music, that's the one thing. It is not sad.
No.
It's all, stuff's
it's
always
very tongue-in-cheek.
good.
Like, this album is very tongue-in-cheek. My next one might be sad. We'll see. But this one's kind of like... It is sort of... There is like a dark side to it, but I'm kind of like making fun of my own dark thoughts, I suppose.
Well, I mean, we could find you playing at a lot of places as well. I see your name pop up and thing. And you're playing a couple gigs with Miss Tess, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna open for Miss Tess on. Gosh, I hope I get this right.
Look it up, by the way.
Look it up, just in case. March 26th at the Sportsman Tavern in Buffalo. So that'll actually be my first, like, official show. I've played in Buffalo for, like, you know, just kind of like gigs, I guess you could say. But this will be my first, like, actual under my name show in Buffalo opening for Miss Tess. So I'm very excited about it.
She's a favorite of mine, and you'll go very well together, too, I must say.
I thought so, yeah. And that's kind of what I wrote to her. I like, you know, pitched her the idea. Now you guys get to see, like, behind the curtain what's really happening. I just kind of wrote to her not knowing her, and I know that she went to Berkeley, and I went to Berkeley, too. So I was like, hey, I'm also a Berkeley alum. I kind of think our music might go well together. And she listens to it, I guess, and she's like, yeah, you might be right.
I'll say, I even know how to pronounce your last name correctly.
Yes.
I remember when she was Miss Tess in the Bonbon Kings. I've seen her. I saw her when she opened for Ela and Jewel, and I've seen her tons of times.
Oh, okay.
And always, I just think her stuff's great. She's another one. Every album's different, and every album's cool.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with 2 albums, and even those 2 albums.
New one coming out. I think this is on this.
Yeah,
tour.
I think it was just released, or it will be released later this month. Yeah. No, she's great. I think she's probably a little more reined in musically than I am, but she also seems to have, you know, like a blending of, I would say, kind of classic vocal jazz and country and like rockabilly and yeah.
What I love to see now, like 5 years from now, watching you go as an artist to see what are you going to do next? What are you gonna, it's always fun to get in on that level and say, I remember back with this, and then look at this, and when you did that. That's always cool, and I think that's part of the creativity and the fun of it. And really, go check Sarah out. You can find her in many, many places around
Links
here.
below.
Yeah, I'm also. I think my next show is the Miss Tess show. But I'm also playing, for anyone listening, I'm going to be doing the Eric Clapton tribute show at the Love and Cup on March 27th.
I actually noticed you were there. Yes, I had that on my calendar.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Oh, that's good
for that
because
show.
You can actually talking about moving it, your guitar to keyboard.
Well, I'm not going to play guitar for the Eric Clapton
tribute. I know. Keyboard though. You're going to do it. It's going to be keyboard.
Yeah,
slow hand on keyboard.
I will be. I'll be the secondary keyboardist. There's actually like a main. I'm not in the house band. I'm going to be primarily singing actually, but I will be doing secondary keyboards for a bunch of stuff. And then April 4th, I'm opening for the Slambovian Circus of Dreams, Gandalf Murphy and the Slambovian Circus of Dreams. If you haven't heard of them, you should check them out.
Just because of the name.
Yeah, I know. The name alone is warranting looking up.
No, they're amazing. I've been their fan for like 15 years now, and they're playing at the Geneseo Riviera, and they are very kindly. They never, ever, ever have openers, but they're kindly letting me open for them.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah, that's April 4th.
Silly, thanks for coming on and everything.
Yeah, thanks for
Real
having
quick,
me.
one thing before we log it out. As a pianist, Steinway versus Yamaha.
Oh gosh,
Harley Davidson.
okay. I mean, like, I have a Yamaha, and that's a lot of times what I end up playing, but I'm definitely a Steinway girl.
I mean, it's a classic, but everybody forgets one of the biggest manufacturers of pianos is Yamaha.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people forget that.
And
absolutely.
easily, thanks a lot, though. It was fun.
Yeah.
And now, why
You have
don't
that
you're
single
much
you
better to
mentioned.
do it. Why don't you
But
introduce
yes,
the single?
that
and
new
everything so
single
we
you
don't
mentioned
screw
a
it
few
up?
minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just released a new song. It's called Pour Over Me, and all the musicians on this are all, like, it's an all-star Rochester lineup, so I hope you like it.
Oh, you will, and
Yeah.
you'll hear it. And here we go with Pour Over Me. And thank you, Sarah. And
Thank
Thank you. Adios.
I love the pictures you paint, the scenes you create. I'm captivated. I'm in awe of the power you wield, how you hardly lift the pen, still the poetry is spilled. Please pour over me while I pour over you. Won't you pour over me? How do you collect